All right, so let's start off and start breaking down Paris Johnson first.
Okay.
The player that we both think will be the first one off the board at this position, and Paris Johnson had a pretty remarkable tape at Ohio State, playing on the left side, and studying Ohio State's offensive line was fun because you had Paris Johnson on the left, you had DeJuan Jones on the right.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about both prospects today, and the film on both, but a very experienced guy and very athletic guy. We didn't get to see that though. We didn't see him really do much at the combine. We didn't really get to see him do much at his pro day either at Ohio State. He's the guy who's sticking to his tape.
Yep.
And the tape showcased that this guy's an athletic guy. Played guard on the right side in 2021, kicked over to left tackle in 2022. So he's still raw at the position, but he played it like a very experienced guy then. Considering he didn't have that many reps going into it before this year. But once he got over at the left tackle position this year, I thought he had a tremendous season at the position.
Yeah, I mean, actually, that's something that most people forget about. He was an offensive guard. He has the ability to play inside if you need him to. He's going into the NFL as a left tackle. That's what he's going to be. You're drafting him as a left tackle. But if someone gets hurt and you've got someone that can't play guard, only play tackle, he does have the ability to play inside if you really need him to. And I think that's something that's very undervalued about him. But no, he's an extremely athletic player. His tape shows it all. I mean, he's extremely strong. He does have a little bit of an issue with power rushes. He does get kind of set off base a little bit, and I'm sure we'll see that a little bit in the film. But, I mean, overall, I think he's a very good player, and the key is just going to be develop him. Get him a little bit more used to the position, ease him in, and then get him going. Because, a few more reps, a few months of training camp, that could really get him to the place that he needs to be a starting left tackle in the NFL.
Yeah, I think what a lot of it is with Paris Johnson, there's a lot to like about. For one, has to be the size. I mean, 6'6", 313,
Oh, yeah.
Great size for a left tackle. 36-inch arm length is pretty solid as well, again, which is very considerable when you're comparing the two with him and Skoronski. But the other thing, athleticism, coordination, how he developed, as a left tackle this year, had a lot of people enticed by him. I think his overall technique will need improvement.
Yep.
But getting paired with a good offensive line coach, at the top of the board will help that for him.
That's also something that's just going to come. I mean, he's new to the position, and you've got to expect that. But you're drafting him because of the potential that he has there, not because of what he is right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think he is, and he has all the potential in the world to be that top guy.
All right, so let's get to the film and start breaking down some of the tape that we saw from Paris Johnson. So this first game is against Georgia in the college football playoffs. So big competition here. Tons of edge rushers they had. It's not the best tape that we're going to see, against a Georgia edge rusher. There's not really some big ones where he's, against Nolan Smith per se. We have some tape later with some interior guys against Georgia's defense where they're going head to head with Jalen Carter,
Yep.
where that's a lot better of a head-to-head matchup, but still a top defense where on the left side he pretty much was able to work on an island and protect C.J. Stroud in a big game and hold his own against some, again, still top caliber defense edge rushers on that defense.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think he's good. I mean, his technique is very good for someone that has just transitioned from the interior part of the offensive line. And I think watching the tape and seeing what he can do and the amount of pressure that he really didn't let off against C.J. Stroud. I mean, there was not much. C.J. Stroud was able to be very confident in the pocket for the most part throughout the season. And I think that just speaks volumes. I mean, part of C.J. Stroud's big tape is because of Paris Johnson. Yeah. I mean, very simple as that. His ability to guard that left side was huge, and I think he's going to be very good.
Yeah, another part of his game that I really like is the finisher mentality. And it's another thing that I really look for, personally, in an offensive lineman, finishing the play until the play is over. Yep. And, at the end of the day, putting a guy on the ground is another thing that he does really well. So these last, two plays that played, and we're going to replay them now. The first one against Georgia, where it's a run outside. He takes the guy nearly almost to the sideline and throws him down on the ground. And the running back is bouncing back to, the right, going away from where Paris Johnson, pulled and took that play with the outside stretch. But he's still pushing the guy to the sideline, takes him to the ground. And then the next play here against Michigan, same thing as well. Moves up to the second level. They're running right to the left on the outside zone. And he just, pummels a guy into the ground. Finisher mentality as well. is a lot to like for within an offensive lineman, especially a tackle as well.
Yeah, he's got the mentality to be the guy in an offensive line, and that's what you're drafting him for. You want that. He's got the size. He's got the potential. He's got the mentality. Now you just need to unlock everything and get everything together. And I think he's got the ability to do that. He's got the footwork. He's got good hand usage, but just he's not consistent enough in that.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to have to change. And I think just a few tweaks throughout the offseason to that with a good developmental offensive line coach, I think will be good enough to make him... I don't think he's going to be an all-pro out the gate. Not a Pro Bowler out the gate. But I think a year, 2 years from now, that's when we're going to start seeing, as he gets more comfortable with the position, as he gets more comfortable with the competition that he's facing, that's when we'll start to see the output that we really see that he could have.
So when I look at the draft board and where I can see Paris Johnson falling, 9, 10, and 11, I think is a sweet spot for Paris Johnson. I don't see him going before that, and quite frankly, I don't really see him going below that. So the Chicago Bears, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Tennessee Titans. Of those three teams, which one do you think is the best landing spot potentially for Paris Johnson? You know, in terms of the scheme that they run on their offense, how he fits within, you know, his mold in the NFL, and then the coaches he can be working with. Which team do you like best out of those three?
Personally, I think the Eagles would probably be the best fit for him. I really like the offensive line there, and they've got a lot of veteran presence there to be able to help him and kind of get used to the position and stuff like that. I think that's the biggest thing for me. I think it's the rest of the offensive line unit that I think is going to help him the most. I think Tennessee Titans are in a very weird position as a franchise right now. Not really sure what their direction is or anything like that, and I wouldn't want to put a guy at the left tackle position right now that, you know, isn't probably going to be the guy right away. So I don't really like that fit. And then at 9 with the Bears, I think it's an interesting one. I think it could work. You know, you're going with another Ohio State quarterback, which I think could end up being an interesting fit. But no, I think the Eagles' Super Bowl appearance last year, they've got the veteran talent, they've got a good coaching staff. I think that would probably be the best fit for him.
Yeah, and he also wouldn't have to start right away either.
Nope.
I mean, he can sit behind Lane Johnson for what many think is just going to be one more year and then take over next year. So it's a very Eagles pick to go with a guy that can be a future long-term starter at a premium position despite having a starter there already. I like the Titans. I think he could be a good fit to that team and what they want to build on that offensive line of some of the young guys that they've been bringing in. You know, they let Taylor Lewan go at left tackle. It seems like it's a new era on that offensive line in Tennessee. So I think if Tennessee stays at 11, which is the key
Never know.
to watch for here within the next few weeks, but if Tennessee stays at 11, again, there's different avenues they can go with. You know, Jackson Smith-Njigba, you go with a quarterback falls, you know, maybe get a quarterback. But Paris Johnson, I think, would be the safest pick that they could probably make. But again, they're not really in a spot, like you said, with their franchise where they're going to make a really safe pick. It seems like they're, you know, new GM coming in might want to go with a bold pick.
Make a splash
play, and, you know, try to build his team the way he wants to. But he's another one that can consider, you know, Tennessee Titans as a landing spot.